Alrighty, it looks like we are all connected. I am back for our third day of training today, and I am really excited. This is our 3-day racing nutrition series. So if you have been here for all 2 days, 3 days including today, I'm so glad you're here. If you have missed our discussion, so day 1 and day 2 training. Day 1 training was on carb loading. Day 2 training was on fueling during running. And today is day 3, and it's our final day of training. We're going to be talking about hydrating during your running, which is the other piece of during race nutrition. So I'm going to just dive right in today. Really our goal of our goal of hydrating during training is to prevent dehydration, prevent overhydration, maintain electrolyte balance, delay fatigue, support our performance. And I will say that dehydration, when we are losing too much fluid and not replenishing appropriately, when we are drinking too much fluid, those can both run into some problems. So let's talk about that. So dehydration is when we lose greater than 2% of our body weight during a single session of exercise. So, it's not true body weight that we're losing during one run. It's really fluid that we're losing through our sweat. And how that can affect your body is it can increase your body temperature. It can make your heart work harder, and you can use up more of your glycogen stores. So signs to look out for that can indicate you're dehydrated during running. If you're feeling really, really thirsty, if you have headaches, if you have any GI issues like nausea, vomiting, if your urine is a really dark color, that's a good sign that you're dehydrated. Again, if you're feeling really, really thirsty, a lot of times that is our sign that we did not either come to our exercise well hydrated, or we waited too long to start hydrating. And then dry mouth and dry skin. So be on the lookout for those signs of dehydration. And on the opposite end of that is overhydration, which can present as gaining weight during exercise. You're not gaining true body weight, you're gaining fluid, and that can come from like your sweat rate is down here, but your drinking is here. Like you're just drinking too much. And this can be seriously a very dangerous thing during running, especially when you're running long distances, especially if you're drinking plain water. We do not want to be drinking plain water when we're running our half marathons and our marathons and our ultras and beyond. We need electrolytes in there. And overhydration can result in a dangerous condition called exercise-associated hyponatremia. And it's basically where our blood sodium gets diluted and our sodium level tanks. Some of these symptoms of overhydration can also be some symptoms of dehydration. So just be on the lookout for that. But nausea, vomiting, so GI issues, headaches, feeling weak, feeling lethargic, seizures, even death can be a result of overhydration. So we want to be careful of that, of course, right? And so our goal really is to maintain fluid balance so that we can find our sweet spot and prevent dehydration and overhydration. Now, each runner, I mentioned this yesterday when we chatted about what did we chat about? When we chatted, I think about some sports drinks when we talked about fueling yesterday, but I mentioned sweat rate, and that is how much fluid we're losing during exercise. Everyone has a different sweat rate. Some people lose a little bit of sweat per hour. Some people lose a significant amount of sweat per hour. So everyone is very different, and everyone has a different sweat electrolyte composition. So some runners lose a little bit of sodium, for example, during running. Some runners lose a significant amount of sodium during running. So your fluid and electrolyte losses, and therefore your needs, should be very individualized and tailored to you and the type of sweater that you are. You can do things like sweat tests, which can give you that information, and then you can take that information to me and we can look at your results and we can put together a very, very specific fluid and electrolyte plan for you for both long runs and races. Be aware that your sweat rate and you've probably noticed this, but your sweat rate can change based on what it looks like outside, right? Your conditions in which you're training. So in the wintertime, when it's cold, you might have a little bit different of a sweat rate than when you're in the summer and it's humid and it's hot and you're just losing a lot more. So you've probably noticed. In both situations though, even in your winter running, it might feel cold, but we still need to hydrate. We still need to take electrolytes on our long run. The number one thing to focus on when it comes to hydrating during your run is actually, we're gonna back it up a little bit. And the goal is to get to your workout well hydrated. You don't wanna get to your workout dehydrated because you're already in a deficit, and how is that going to help you in any sort of way? But we do not need to be excessive with it. We do not need to chug a lug a gallon of water, the morning of a long run. Like, there is such thing as too much hydration and too much fluid, which we chatted a little bit about when we talked about overhydration. Like, there is such thing. We don't need to be excessive with it. We'd love to be excessive with things, right? Sometimes, but we can just hydrate well and go into our run hydrated, but we don't need to chug a lug, right? Hydration during running. I have some notes behind you, so I'm just gonna scroll down here. But your hydration during running, we want to be very strategic with it. We generally want to hydrate and take electrolytes on runs that are over an hour. But know your body and know yourself. If I am out there, and especially if it's like a summer run, and I know I'm a heavy salty sweater, so I know I'm going to be drenched by the time I finish my run, and if it has higher intensity. So maybe I'm going out for like a speed run. It's less than an hour, but I am going to be pushing it and pushing it hard. I'm going to be losing lots of fluid, lots of sweat, lots of electrolytes. I will bring my handheld with me, and I will have electrolytes in there because I hate when I have headaches and feel like crap after a speed workout. So I know what I need to do for my individual body. So generally, when runs are over an hour, we want to hydrate and take electrolytes, but know your body and do what is best for you. We also want to be intentional, like I said, with having some sodium in our hourly race day and long run nutrition plan. That can come from higher sodium gels like we talked about yesterday. That can come from sodium tabs and capsules that you can swallow. That can come from sodium-rich sports drinks. So we want to be intentional with including sodium in our plan. And then we want to think about some of the logistics, right? So the logistics of hydrating during your race and hydrating during your long run could look a little bit different, but you really want to think this through. Are you going to be carrying your hydration on you? Or are you going to be relying on the cups they have on course? Or are you going to be using both? Now, if you're relying on cups on course, we got to know, where are our cups going to be on course, right? How many do we need to take per hour to keep up with our hydration? So that's where going to your race website, looking at the map. I even email some races, especially if like I'm working with a client and we're like, okay, we have this marathon coming up. We need to figure out what sports drink is on course because they want to use the cups on course, which a lot of people do. Totally fine, but we need to know what is going to be in that cup, right? If we're going to be taking the sports drink on course, we want to know what brand, we want to know what type, we want to know the flavor, we want to get that product and test it during our long training runs because nothing new on race day, people. It's not the time to experiment and try new things. We need to experiment and try new things during our training. And I will say that you want to know the specific product. For example, Noon Hydration, right? They have two very different products. I think they have a bunch of different products, but they have two main products that most people use during running. One is called Noon Sport, and they're the tabs, and they're fizzy, and they have a good amount of sodium in there, but they got no carb. Whereas Whereas noon endurance has a good amount of sodium and it provides carbohydrates. So if you are one that has higher carbohydrate needs, let's say you are running a marathon, then having some carbs in those fluids, not a bad idea. And it can help you sneak some carbs in there to help you reach your hourly carb goal. So just be mindful of that. If you're going to be carrying your hydration with you, are you going to wear a hydration vest? I currently have a Solomon Advanced Skin Vest and I love it. I have 2 bottles in the front. They each are 500 ml. So total, it's a whole liter. Plus, I could put a bladder in the back if I needed to and wanted to. Also, though, check your race rules and make sure, especially if you're running a major race, the New York City Marathon, make sure, and I don't think Boston allows vests either, so make sure that you understand what is allowed on course and what is not, so that you are not getting ready for your race and then told as you get ready to line up that you can't have your hydration vest. That would suck. No surprises, right? And then if you're not sure, you could just email the race and ask them, hey, are hydration vests allowed? I would say most courses allow hydration vests. Some don't, like I said. New York City, I think Boston is another one. So just make sure that you know what you can and can't bring on race day. Handheld is another option. I have a Nathan handheld. It's 20 ounces. I love it. As I said, I have a higher sweat rate, so I need more fluids per hour, and 20 ounces is perfect for me. There's running belts. So lots of options for carrying your hydration. And again, thinking about like, okay, what is going to be practical for me on race day and what is going to be comfortable for me on race day. If you're planning to race with a hydration vest, pretty good idea to wear a hydration vest during your training to get used to how that feels. Because it can take a little bit for you to get used to like carrying that weight on your back or, in the front there. Make sure that if you are carrying your hydration and you're using your own electrolyte product, make sure that you have a plan to either fill up a handheld if you need to at some of the stops. Make sure that you have enough electrolyte if you need to fill up your handhelds and then dump some more of your own electrolytes into your handhelds. Like, make sure you plan all of that. You want to know, okay, how many little individual packets of electrolytes do I need, and how many times or when do I need to stop and fill up my handheld on course. So lots and lots of logistics just to start thinking through. So again, our goal for hydration during racing is to find our sweet spot and our balance between dehydration and overhydration. Generally on runs that are over an hour, like your training runs, even during training, we want to hydrate and take electrolytes. Generally when runs are over an hour, we want to take in some electrolytes and fluids. And then like for our long distance races, half marathons, and beyond, we definitely need to hydrate or else we're going to feel awful. So I hope you enjoyed today's training. Send me a DM if you have any questions. I didn't see anything come through, but if I was lost in my thought and I missed your question, just send me a DM and let me know what question you have about anything we've really talked about over the last few days, about carb loading, about fueling during your race, about hydrating during your race. Let me know if anything comes to mind and if you need any help. So, with carb loading, with fueling during your race, practicing all of that during training, being well prepared for that on race day, hydrating during your training and figuring that piece out, hydrating during your race, it's going to set you up for a really, really strong race. And you deserve that because you have been training for months, right? Like a lot of us spend so many months training for a race, and then like race day is you missed the info on carb loading. Okay, go to my feed. I posted the carb loading live there. I also posted the live we did yesterday, so you won't miss a thing. Now, if you're looking for help building out your own personal race day plan, take a peek at my Avoid the Wall program. In this program, I help you know and learn and build into your plan the what, how much, when, so you can know exact things like how to build out your carb load plan. How many grams of carbs is your carb loading goal each day? Or if grams and tracking and all of that's not your thing, how can you approach carb loading in a way that's not numbers focused, which I teach you as well in that program. I help you know what to eat the night before, what to eat the morning of, how much, timing, how many grams of carbs per hour you want to aim for during your race, how many ounces of fluid to aim for during your race, how much sodium to include. So I give you those exact details and help you build out a personal plan that is going to work really, really well for you on race day. This month, I am running a special. So for anyone who purchases the Avoid the Wall program, you get a one-on-one call with me. So what I am going to do is I will post this video to my feed, and I will also post this to my story, and I'll post the link for the program to my story so you can look, check it out, see all the details of the program and how that works. And then if you want to DM me race, DM me the words race, and then I'll send the link straight to your inbox. So I hope to see you in there. Again, I'm here for you. I do not bite, so I am here for you. If you need anything, just shoot me a DM and I'd be happy to chat. So I hope you have a good day. Thanks for joining me. I had a blast chatting with you about racing nutrition over the last few days. So take care and have a good Wednesday.